Hey, Danse, Desiree Denimi, Nasigasun, Papixi Zotinia. Hello, welcome to Discussions with Des, episode 4. I am your host, Desiree Denimi. So happy to come here and be with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me on my episode 4 of Discussions with Des. Again, I would like to welcome each and every one of you. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know. Let's see where you guys are watching from in the comments. Again, I'm coming to you live from North Dakota here, the United Tribes Technical College campus, and here at the desk here, I'm at the at the Powell Grounds. No, I'm not. I'm in my living room, but again, I wanted to welcome each and every one of you. It is Tuesday, and on Tuesdays, we do our show Discussions with Des here on Seven Stars Media. I wanted to talk today about mental health during this time. In the last year, it's already been a whole year since we've been during this pandemic. And I know a lot of time our mental health is sort of on the back burner. And this is one of the things that is really what we're going through a lot of the time is dealing with so much on our plates. If we're doing things from home, or if we're doing school from home, doing work from home, or if we're doing hybrid or going back completely. And it's all about regaining like trust and are you washing your hands enough? Is your mask on enough? And hey, how's it going? Canada, Alberta, what's up? So yeah, I wanted to talk about the mental health and how extremely important it is to take care of yourself. And I know sometimes it's like, and I hear people say, self-care, self-care. And I'm like, well, what is that then? I literally need to know rules. It's getting like, I need to know like kind of like a to-do list or something like that, or I need to be like shown. Before I forget, I wanted to give a shout out first. Today I am wearing one of my really good singing sisters, my friend Jen Fraua. She is an amazing beater. I have a medallion on here. What up? You know what? My lighting is not doing this justice. It is very, very vibrant, very, very beautiful. And today I'm wearing Jen Fraua, and I actually won these in a raffle. Best $10 I ever spent. I know another thing too, I really encourage like our Indigenous small businesses that are bingo halls, or the raffles, raffles. People have to spell them because they can't, just so it doesn't flag or whatever. I really enjoy these and how people are getting so creative and sustaining and supplementing their income with their crafts and everything that they're doing, like that, like getting creative native. I love that. And so I am a huge supporter of these raffles, ribbon skirts. I've literally won. I probably have about 4 or 5 new ribbon skirts in my collection from raffles alone, which is like, sounds like I win all the time, but I actually don't. It's just how much I buy into them. It's just the odds. Just kidding. But how's it going? Hello, welcome. Oh, I got somebody from Wyoming in the house. Callie watching from Saskatoon. Hey girl. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to give a shout out to some of the Indigenous. Anytime like I have either whether I've been gifted these or I won them in a raffle or I purchased them, I want to give a shout out because I think that that's amazing that people are doing are just creating and getting their small businesses out there, their side hustles and everything like that. I love that. So again, I posted this. If you guys are any of my Facebook friends or on my Instagram, on my story, I had shared, geez, this doesn't even do it justice. My lighting here is just res lighting. Just kidding. When we first started in the quarantine and I didn't have a social media light or a ring light, I didn't have one of those. And so what I used to use was lamps, my lamps in my bedroom. My bedroom and my living room had 2 lamps. I just bend them over and then use them. I was like, geez, rigged it up. Just rigged up old social, like, just to try and get that lighting. I just had to laugh because the first time that we went live on um what was it, the virtual round dance, and we didn't have a social media light, but I was like, oh, we should, get lighting in our little living room, and that's what I use as my big lamps and just tilted them. Now I have a social media light, but it is rigged up here. So but yeah, I just wanted to say hello. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is my episode 4, and I wanted to talk about mental health and how important that is, that we understand that about ourselves. Understand, like I was just talking to my instructor actually, and we're back in school now. We're back like face to face, and hello, Giselle from Alexander Kaputagao. Welcome. And if I sound a little sliced, I'm sorry. It's allergy season. I never had allergies in my whole life. All of a sudden I have allergies. I was like, geez, I don't know what the hell is in the air, man. I just crying and like, anyway, I was talking to my instructor, and she's a non-Indigenous woman, and she learns a lot from teaching Indigenous students here. And she's been working here for like 30 years. And so we were talking, and we're back in class face to face. I mean, not face to face. We're back face to face. Just kidding. No, but we're back in class now, and I know that it was so different being in class. I'm not sure who's the student out there and who's even an adult learner student. I mean, I'm older than the hills, and am still in school. I'm a lifelong learner. No shame in my game, though. I love attending post-sec. Shout out to my post-secondary, the Donna Denemy. But I really like to learn, and right now I'm in graphic design, and I'm really learning a lot. But I was like, it was hard when I was doing it from home, challenging to say the least, because your home is your sanctuary. Your home fire is where you go to relax and unwind and spend time with your family. And then so we couldn't really, during this pandemic, we couldn't differentiate between work and relax time. And so I couldn't really get in the mode of oh, it's work time, like that. It's work time. I got to be in class. So I'd be in class, but as soon as class was over, I'm like, it's relax time. I have shit to do around my house. I got kids to feed, or like whatever. I'm figuring things out at home, doing laundry, watching Netflix, whatever it is. I'm just chilling, and I'm like, so it's hard to really. For me, it was challenging to shut the work light, like, can I just do that switch and be like, oh, I'm online, and I have things to do. And then when I was at home, like that, like, because when you're at home, it's your time to relax and unwind. And a lot of time I was like, I wasn't as passionate, because I personally, and I'm not sure who can relate to this, but I personally can really, I like to like connect. I like to talk. I like to share and compare. I like to learn like hands-on. I like to see things. I'm a visual learner, and I'm a hands-on learner. I like to do things like that. I like to listen to people teaching me or storytelling. That's how I learn. And when you're just sort of on your laptop, and there's a disconnect there. And even a lot of people wouldn't turn on their cameras. And I'm glad sometimes I didn't turn my cameras on. Sometimes I'd just be like, oh, I'd just be rolling out of bed, and then, oh, I'd just be looking rough, and I'd be like, oh, I'm not putting my camera on. I look wicked rough. And I had my baby, and I'd be going around and just, gitch, and like, it's just a gong show in my house. And I'm like, no, I don't want to put my, there's like, you never know what people are going through as well. During this pandemic in the last year, so much has changed, but like when it comes to crisis and people experience things, especially our Indigenous people that are dealing with unpacking their traumas and dealing and healing from everything, or coping, and all that stuff was still maintained the same, but just with added stress of the pandemic. And so I want to know, what were you guys doing during the pandemic? How was the pandemic for you guys? anyone that's watching, let me know in the comments how what you did for self-care and how you maintain with your mental health. I know a lot of people like don't really want to admit, um, yeah, I'm fine. We're kind of a lot of people we we are just like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Like I'm good. I'm figuring it out. And then, but meanwhile, when they're alone, hugging your pillow, and you're having a challenging time, just being so stressed. Even sometimes I had a hard time even like, what am I stressed? Is this what stress feels like? I mean, obviously I know what stress feels like, but sometimes I just be like, I don't have any other choice. Like, how am I supposed to sort through this? And so I want to know what some of you guys were doing. Hey, how's it going? Hello. Let me know how you were dealing with your mental health and your emotional health here during in the last year. Michelle, I started teaching Zumba fitness classes out of my home and took other classes from instructors all over the world. That a girl? Dang. This pandemic is crazy and it's been hard to stay on top. What helps me is my daughter's school. I pray through playing my flute. Oh, that's amazing. You know what? Native American flute. And you just put that on and listen to that. I don't even know what it is about it. I just like it just transcends me. I'm just like, wow, this is so beautiful. Um, a lot of the time, sometimes I'd be like I said, I like to hear it from somebody else. And so I had my circle of people, which was my older sister and my sister Tanya, my sister AJ, and my mom, and I would be like venting to them. And I think that it was important to know that sometimes I didn't even ask permission if I could vent to them. And I think that's important to do. It's something that I recently just learned, is that to ask your friend, is it okay? Are you okay to can I vent to you? And I actually just seen a meme, and yeah, that's what another thing I've just been getting, free therapy from memes. Who else has been getting free therapy from memes? I know I have. But I just see those things and some of them just hit home, right? And I'm like, wow, I really need to read that today. And like I just sometimes there'll be like, repeat after me, like affirmations, and I just repeat them over and over and over again. And claim that for myself, and like literally ask for that to wash over me, and doing these things that. And I think it's interesting because this is where I'm at in my own personal growth, and I had to get here to be open to trying new things. And when I talked before about, I wasn't very open. I wasn't very open when I was younger. I was like, yeah, right, like real cheap. I'm like, no way, like no thanks. And I just had like a block up, and I think that was a coping mechanism that I used, so I didn't have to just take a hard look at myself. And as I got older, I realized that I was carrying so much things that I didn't need to carry anymore. And a big way to like process these emotions is to feel them feel them, like literally feel them through. And when I grew up in and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I'm not going to assume everybody can relate, but a lot of people can relate to oh, shh, when you're crying, shh, like that, don't cry, or like stop, like that. And so you're like okay. And then so when you're taught that right from a young child, and you grow up, you're gonna like, it just teaches you not to really fully deal with it later on. My mom would always say, cry it out, cry it out. And I have a really challenging time tapping into to crying and emotion. It's not like I don't. Here and there I will. And in fact, I watched The Notebook. As if just I watched The Notebook, and I was just thinking about my dad, and like, geez, I guess I do tap into it sometimes, but when it comes to being an emotional person, I am actually not that emotional. I am, but I mean, in a weird way where I really try and handle it. But I think that has just been ingrained in me to like handle my emotions and just to chin up, man. Don't be no punk bitch. Just kidding. But I've been I have a challenging time really allowing that, like, the, crying and emoting, like, really wash over me. And I've been trying to practice that, because I know sometimes I'll be hanging on by a thread, and and then I'll have a good cry and I'm like, wow, I really needed that release. I really needed to, like, let that. A big part of self care is getting in a routine of, like, smudging our home, and really smudging our, and with intent. And I think that's a big thing about us people. We really need to set our intention, and to keep ourselves focused on, like, what it is that we are doing. Even if you don't just have a big grand, thing where you're talking out loud, but if you're able to, in your mind, guy, if you feel too cheap to say it out loud or in front of your family. I know sometimes we kind of feel that type of way, like, geez, I feel like kind of cheap, embarrassed, like, oh, no, don't make me do it out loud. But I think that the more in our growth that we're able to vocalize, and my dad has always said that there's so much, what you put in the wind, when you open your mouth, and what you put in the wind is so important. Be careful about what you say and what you put out in the wind, even with your thoughts, and how you vocalize. And I always just imagine, like, you ever see, like little, like, letters coming out of your mouth and then, like, floating in the wind. I always, like, imagine that. But I would always be, like, mindful, don't say things, like that you don't mean. And it's challenging sometimes, especially when we're, and that's what I mean. Me too. I'm learning how to not be reactive. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Erica. Welcome, Pete the Guay. I'm so happy that you guys are joining. Hi, Vincent. Hi, nephew. Gosh, hi, my niece. Oh, hello. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know where you guys are watching from, even though I kind of know where you guys are watching from. Me, these ones are my peeps. But let me know where you're watching from. Be sure to like and share. What are you been doing for your mental health, and what are some of the things that you're using for your self care? I know that some people had said that they were exercising. Couldn't be me. Me, just kidding. No, I really wish I am such. I'll outthink myself all the time. I do, like, I encourage people to get active, even if it's not me. Just kidding. No, I do get active here and there, but I it's just maintaining, like, that discipline to continuously do that. I know I kind of got a little bit of a COVID bod going on. I know some people can relate. um, but we just been, earlier on, like, our experience with the pandemic here in North Dakota is a lot different than other states had it, and a lot of, and in Canada we have a different approach to it. And I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm saying that it's different, because it definitely is. And I understand that because of how connected I am on social media, and I see how people are doing it all over, and I'm like, whoa, like, we're not doing that here. And so, hello from Nashville. Okay, okay. Um, and so I was, it was like, we stayed home, and we just, like, we hung out. But a lot of the time, like, my family and my partner Opie, and my children, we are like, we like to travel, and we like to connect with people. And that's what we did for, like, prior to the pandemic. And then now we are sort of, like, getting a little bit back into that, because we need that to sustain our life. Like, even not just the way it feels like to be around a drum and to sing and to connect in that way. That is a huge part of who we are. And so we went to a few doings that were here and there. And of course, taking precautions, washing our hands, wearing masks. Also, as well as that, we were getting tested prior and when we got home. And now both Opie and I are fully vaccinated. And so we were, if we had a chance to go to something, because we really took a lot from that. Like, it really filled up our tank, so to speak. And I know that a lot of people, they need these outlets, whether it be sports or powwow, whatever it is that, like that, in these communities, in these circles that we do, that fulfills us. And when we don't have that, we noticed it during that pandemic. We were really brought that, it was to the forefront. We're like, wow, like, I didn't realize how much I took just normal things for granted. And it was having to get more just like think on the fly to connect with your family. I know a lot of the times, like Opie and I were going live because we wanted to visit with you. And now, I mean, I have this podcast. Of course, this is kind of like way later in the game in here, but I like to connect with people. I like to visit with people. I like to see what people are doing. It's like I'm that's just who I am. And um again, I was using my family as resources and my small community, like I get the people I reach out to, my circle, like that. Um and yeah, hello shelves. YouTube taught me how to sew. I've been doing it for a year and it helped my mental health so much during the pandemic. Shelby Toronjo, she is now sewing ribbon skirts. She's doing applique um on shirts, and she self-taught during the pandemic. During the pandemic, she taught herself how to do that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Um, Hello from Little Eagle. We went to a powwow in Little Eagle. Quick story. Quick story. Um, so Little Eagle hosted a traditional powwow in the summertime this past summer, and we heard about it. And Little Eagle isn't very far from where we live here, and we're like, let's go. Let's take the drum. Let's go. And so we went and we camped, and we got our tent from my sister Connie. In the cities, we were visiting them in the cities, and then we're like, do you have a tent? And then she's like, yeah. So we got a tent, and we're like, all right, so we got a tent where we'll camp at Little Eagle. We'll kick it old school. And so we got there, and it's Friday night, and we were starting to powwow. And then the tent, we were like, oh, I better set up before. Like I put the brights on so I could have like a little area. And me and Ope and our kids were trying to put up that tent. No poles. No poles in that damn thing. And I was just like pulling it out, and I'm like, where the heck are the poles? Or what is this? A blow up paint? I was like, what the hell? It was just dark. It was so hot. Geez, I was just sweating or just getting rank at each other. And I was just like, shoot. One of our a friend of ours, Frank, he was the announcer, the apaha at the Little Eagle powwow, and he lent us uh, a tent. He's like, oh, I have a tent. And he's like, you guys can borrow it for the weekend. And then we're like, okay, sure. And we're like, oh, we're so grateful, because we're like, it's a fair drive, and we just wanted to, we brought all our camping gear except a tent. And so we set up his tent. Here he had wicked damn upstairs in that tent. It's a big mansion. It was so huge. It was just a luxurious tent. I was like, holy. And like I Googled it. Like I was like Googled like the brand or whatever. It's like top of the line tent. It's just like all dope. And I was just like, damn, like look, we were all standing up in there, and I was just like, go in your room. Get in your room. Just kidding. It was such a huge tent. And it even had like even the blinds, like, or even the windows had like little look like windows. And I'm like, holy, it's like damn all dope. But so we stayed in that tent, and we camped with my sister Tanya and her daughters and Joel, and we just had our little area. That was probably like literally the highlight of my whole summer, because we cooked. We woke up. I literally woke up at the crack of dawn. I'm not even kidding you. It was still dark out, and I started making tortillas and on a campfire as good Indian woman and good Mexican woman. Just kidding. No, I had my mother-in-law taught me how to make authentic tortillas, and I didn't want to fry them or anything like that. So it was easier just to cook it on a pan. And then so I was making those all early, and then cooking up breakfast and stuff like that. It was so fun. Like it was just like old school. It was just like old times, like kind of making do, like figuring it out. And I made my adopted mom Anita was there, and I was making chili. Geez, I made chili, and then we had her brother, some other men that come to the camp, and they're talking about that chili way later. They're like, oh, that girl made that good chili, like way months later. And I'm like, oh yeah. But we made soup and like had food all going at the camp. the whole time, and then we'd go up and go sing and then dance and then come back and drink Tim Hortons. We had this little, like the campfire. It's Callaway coffee, boy. And geez, it was such a good time. Even we didn't have anywhere to shower. Guess where we showered or cleaned ourselves? In the river. There's just a river right there beside the powwow. We just went in that river and just cleaned ourselves off. Just had a quick little little scrub down. But we did that, and it was like it was just a really good time. And again, we just kept to ourselves, like we were socially distant other than our family, because we were around each other all the time. And you have those people that we leaned on during this time, is like certain family members that we were just really like together with all the time. And yeah, so that was just, I wanted to share that story because it was such an amazing time. It was and I was thinking, like, we should do this all the time. And like Oprah's like, I don't know about that. Because we're kind of like hotel powwowers, buffet eaters. Just kidding. But it was just an amazing time to like cook and like just wake up with the birds and feel rested and just like watch the stars, have marshmallows, after the powwow. Yeah, so I just, again, I'm talking about things that help our mental health. That's like one of the things that filled my cup in the summertime. I was just like, that was so much fun. And it was just a traditional powwow. It wasn't like there was just very like, very small, very intimate powwow. And it was just like, it was just beautiful. And I had such a good time there. And yeah, bird bath. Derek. Always bird bath. Yeah, it's, I ain't too proud. But again, these are just some of the memories that I think that without the pandemic, I probably wouldn't have made. And that we just, did something out of the box. And again, some of the things too, like we've been singing at home, like singing in our home is something that we do all the time. Like my boys always drumming and singing, and then us just like vibing out that way. And again, if you know who I am or watched any of these episodes prior, I always say singing is prayer. And if you approach singing like that, no matter what, singing is prayer. And like I believe that, and it just brings that vibe and momentum and those good feelings into our home, and wards off any negative feelings. And so I'm always mindful of that when you're stepping in to start singing, that it's prayer. And again, I anytime before I sing, I always acknowledge my relatives, my relatives that have gone on, my helpers and the grandmothers and grandfathers, and especially my dad. And I know that anyone that's kind of has been following knows that I lost my dad in 2019. And you know what? This is a funny story here. I'm just telling stories. I was talking about things, but like it came up for me here. When my dad had passed, my brother had went to he's seen a person that has a gift to connect with like spirits and stuff. And they had told my brother that your reason why you don't feel your dad is because your dad's with his with your sister. He said, do you have a sister? And then my brother's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, your dad's with your sister. And he said, let her know when she sees dimes that's him, letting her know. And I know if some people have heard of like dimes from heaven and all that. And so, but that person had told my brother that, and I find dimes, like, I'm not even kidding you. Like I find dimes like randomly. One time I was, something fell and it hit and it was a dime. Another time I was sitting on a toilet and I was like, what the hell? There's a dime just right there. I was like, what the heck? And I was like, a dime. And then before I came on live here, I seen a dime underneath I pulled out my couch a little bit, and I was looking for my eyelashes. Blew off the lint, put them on. Just kidding. No, but I was looking for some of my jewelry. I put it on, took it off last night, and I put it by my window, and I pulled out that thing there, a dime right there, and I was just like, "Oh, Dad!" Every time I say Dad, I just like acknowledge that because I just think that that's so cool. And there might be people that don't really believe in that, but for me, that really helps me and reminds me that my dad comes to visit me and watches over me, and when I call on him, and that helps me with my own my understanding and my grief and everything. And I know that a lot of people have experienced loss uh, in this time. And I mean, pandemic or not, creator takes people and we don't have any control over that. We are not promised tomorrow. None of us are, even if we're at tip top shape and health. And I think that, yeah, that's it. A lot of things that are happening even during the pandemic when people were losing their loved ones. They couldn't gather like the way that our people do in order to come together as a community or as families. And I think that was really challenging for a lot of, I can't even imagine. My heart goes out to and anyone that's ever lost anybody, and especially during this pandemic time. It was a real challenge, to say the least. To change things, and then people couldn't go, and when you can't physically let go sometimes. And I know for this, this my dad had passed on before the pandemic, and sometimes even to this day it doesn't seem real. Sometimes I feel like I can't even believe it. Like I can believe it, but I'm like, I can't believe it. Like I thought he was going to be here forever. And I think that that's coming to terms with that of my own grief. And a big part too during this pandemic time, I was like, I don't like to use the word depression. I don't like to throw it around and be like, oh, I'm depressed. I don't like to put energy into words, because again, what you say and put into the wind is very, it has weight, like that. You need to be careful what you say. And again, if you're, into law of attraction or any of those understandings, it's always like attracts like, what you say is what you get. And so I keep mindful of things like that. But at the same time, as mindful as I was about these things, like it just, I still was having a challenging time, like sorting through things. And I'm naturally happy-go-lucky, and a positive person, or like a look on the bright side kind of person. And but even me, like at stinking thinking, I just be like, oh, like, and have like no energy, and I wasn't doing the things that I love to do. Some of the things that I love to do is to cook, and I really like trying recipes and baking and everything again. I stopped doing that. I just stopped feeling like inspired in my home, and I'm just like, geez, And then so we started eating out a lot, and then I got kind of a COVID bod, and now I'm sad because because I eat, and I'm eating because I'm sad. Just kidding. But I mean, like, especially because we're just like, oh, I'm like, I just have no energy. I have like no energy, I'm like, and then normally, like, everybody else can like cook something, but I love to cook. It's like a love language of mine to feed my family. I love doing that. That's just something, a part of me that I really like to do that. But in this time, I noticed that I just like declined and stopped doing that. And it was challenging to get that back. Even I'm still not even back. Like I had Dairy Queen today. but so I think that it's doing things that make your heart happy, but it's sorting through what's going to bring you back around so you can get back on track and to do the things that make you happy, whether it be like, I had Shelby say that she liked to sew. I had I think it was Michelle that is doing Zumba classes and going online and doing them from all over the world. And I love that. And I just I I just feel like, again, I want to know what you were you guys doing, because another time it's challenging to jump out of your comfort zone, and or to get your whole family on the same page for you stepping out and trying something new like that. And I think that um like especially because of the winter time, it's not even nice out. Like we were going for walks and around campus here, and there's like a 5 mile area around here that you can like go on, and it's getting active. And I do feel better when I'm active. It's just that like it's just getting there mentally, because mentally I have to like get over my own thoughts. I'll outthink myself. I'm not sure who can relate to this, and I'm not saying do this. I'm saying I will outthink my emotions because I'm like processing them in my head, and I'm like doing all these things in my head. So I'm like, okay, and then until I can like settle myself emotionally, and then, but I mean physically, I really need to like mind fuck myself to like get to the stages of like doing something different when it comes to getting active. Because even after I get active, I'm like, oh, it felt so good to get active, and then the next day I'm like, nah. And I'm not sure if anybody can relate to that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone can, but I mean, I'm not saying do that or anything. Um, yeah, but I know that a lot of the time too, we've been who has been watching binging shows, and what have you guys been binging? I mean, in the last year, can you recap? I think I watched. Gee whiz, man! They upped the ante there for Netflix. I think it's $18 a month now, and I'm like, take my money, man. I watched. I have Hulu. I have Amazon Prime. I have Netflix. I have HBO Go, like our HBO on demand, and then I have like, and like I love movies. I love watching movies. I even watch weird movies, like ones like I'm kind of like a movie critic. But I was raised, we didn't have cable growing up. We didn't have cable growing up. No one was paying a cable bill. Um, I mean, or satellite or whatever like that. And so we just watch movies. And when I mean watch movies, I mean watch movies. I mean like you watch that movie and then you watch it again. And then back then you didn't have like memes and like all this stuff to right at your fingertips. So you're just quoting movies. And that's what was making you laugh, was quoting movies. Oftentimes it would be like, like Dumb and Dumber, or, Ace Ventura or whatever like that. And, or even anything. I was laughing because Mortal Kombat is coming out. Mortal Kombat is coming out with a new movie. It's coming out in theaters, and it's also coming on HBO. And I grew up watching, I think Mortal Kombat came out in 1994, 1995. And I had watched, I went to the theater with my older brother Lyle, and my dad, and we went to go watch Mortal Kombat. And gamers playing on the Super Nintendo at the time. That like keep blowing it, and I don't know if you guys remember that. If anyone's too young to notice that, but that's the way that we grew up. And so Mortal Kombat, like is a film that was just like the shit back in the 90s. And we continuously, when it came out on I was going to say DVD, it wasn't even DVD, when it came out on VHS, we just watched it over and over and over again. And I was telling a story there with my man Ope there just the other day, because he's like, oh, Mortal Kombat's coming out, and he's like, I'm gonna take Jason to that. And I'm like, shit, I'll go watch that. And he's like, so what do you know about Mortal Kombat? And I'm like, what do I know about a Mortal Kombat? Are you kidding me? And I'm like, I grew up watching Mortal Kombat. I was like, I remember I'd just be like, you could put on the Super Nintendo, if you had one of those controllers, and you can put it on turbo, and then you just like go really hard, and then the leg will just go real fast. And I remember my brother would be like, quit fucking pressing that. You're only winning because you're putting that turbo on. And then I'd just be doing that one move. And then, but anyways, I was just telling him a story. I was like, one time we had a trampoline, and my cousin Andy was over, and my brother Lyle and my cousin Andy were playing Mortal Kombat, and like they were like being characters in Mortal Kombat, and so they were like jumping and like kicking and like just this mocking a fight. And And then I was just like a little kid, like that on the sidelines, kind of like, yeah, just get him, get him, Lyle. Just kidding. And then I was standing there. And if any of you know what Mortal Kombat is, it's only funny if you know what Mortal Kombat is. But um, all of a sudden, my brother Lyle was like, Des, Goro. And then and then I go behind my brother and I just be the extra set of arms because Goro has 4 arms. He has like 4 arms. And then I'd be just pushed up against my brother's back and I just be trying to fight. I'd just be fighting. I mean, just trying to connect with something, anything. I couldn't see anything, but I was just the extra set of arms of Goro. and I'm just like happy to be involved. Like, gotcha, fam. Hey, my time to shine. But if anybody knows what Goro is in Mortal Kombat, that's what I would do. And we're just like, nah, just extra set of arms, not even involved, trying to be involved. Didn't even have eyes, or I couldn't even do anything like that. I was the youngest. I was younger than them. And so if I got a chance to play with them, I was taking it. Even if I was the second set of Goro arms. But yeah, I was just laughing about that because they're coming out with some different movies, kind of like low budget movies. Again, last week Ope and I we went to go watch King Kong versus Godzilla, and spoiler alert, it's getting no, I won't tell you, but it's kind of like, I guess what movies, and you're trying to know what the movie is, but I'm assuming that they're not putting out their heavy hitters, and they're like, because people can't go to them in all states, and they're not going to make really good blockbuster money from their ticket sales and what have you. So that low budget movies, it's their time to shine because they're like, people are wanting to see movies and they're going to go see them, and so like D-listers are putting out their best work, and so I went to go see that, and we're like, it was kind of cheesy acting. And me, I don't know who does this. This might be a generational thing, but I always pick apart movies, and Ope hates it. He can't stand that I do that all the time. And I'll be like, nee, and I'll just say like, and not that. I'll just kind of like cut up something, and I'll say like, not even realistic. And I'm like, they're in a big crisis time there on that Godzilla show, and he gets in that vehicle and he even like says something, and I'm like, as if he has time to say that, as if he had to say that. But you know how they do it in dramatics on movies, and so I always do that, and Opa hates that. But I always just joke about, I just pick apart movies just because I'm like, that's not realistic. Like, I mean, be realistic. He's kidding. But again, I'm a huge movie buff. I watch, like, I'll even give like, what typical shows that people are not interested in. I really like historical dramas. I believe that I might have been a princess in another life. Just kidding. But I just like have this like draw to like, learning about like the colonizer in its truest form. And like you learn about, I just, when I watch these shows and they're talking about, like the monarchy and the kings and queens and their courtships and all these things like that, it's so interesting to me. It's so interesting to me because you're learning about the colonizer, and this is how they're so proper, and you can't do, and how patriarchy is like, it's just so like, this is just where the beginnings of this, the origins of these things. And so that's like really interesting to me. And I like the historical pieces. Like, I don't know. Sometimes people be like, really? Like, that's what you're into? But I'm like, yeah, I even like the romance ones and stuff. And I even kind of like, I'll go down the rabbit hole too and watch the indie films and some ones that aren't even in English, and, give them a shot. You never know what you can learn and how you can, like, you just learn different things, and you're kind of like, okay, a big part is just being open-minded. And so I really like watching whatever, like literally whatever. And I grew up watching like action films, especially if you don't have one TV, you're just like, if someone puts something on, you're watching it and you're like, huh. And I was just laughing too because my baby son, baby Ope is 3, and what were we watching? We were watching Empire, and and yeah, a real dramatic part was coming on, and then all of a sudden the music was like real ominous and just really like intense and stuff like that. And then Baby Opa's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Mom, what's happening?" And then I was just like, "Oh, yeah, he got stolen." I said, "They're taking him away," and I had to explain it. And then he was just watching it, and then I was like, I just thought that's kind of funny because I'm like, I remember if you only have one TV, you're watching whatever someone else is watching, and you grow up like learning like different things. Like, I mean, I watched like Platoon. I watched Platoon, for example. Apocalypse Now, Full Metal Jacket. I just grew up watching like, you know, action shows, and not even like, I'm not even talking about like the Seagal or, you know, I just thinking, and if you ever watch those things now, like I was thinking like, damn, that guy's badass. Like, holy shit, that guy's just freaking badass. And then I was just like on TV, and we just kind of turned it on. And I'm like, this is so cheesy. When I watched it as a kid, I thought it was like the best. But yeah, is Empire a good series? You know what? Opie really likes it, Rodney. Um, it's kind of corrupt. It's like about the music industry. I personally think that there's some things that are kind of cheesy about it, but like they're supposed to be at the award show, and like the award show is just like, I'm like, really? That doesn't even look like the award show. And then yeah, but I was just saying like, I don't know. Yeah, it's good. It's like a drama series. I'm always bugging Ope about his drama. His he always watches like, you know, like freaking um you know, like this drama series, like the drama series, especially like he's just always watching shows like that. And then he'll even watch a Hen on Me, that bugger. We're watching that one there with, and it's a typical show like that for I guess like demographic of women, but here Ope hung right in and he watched the whole show. And I said, "Hey, what happened?" And then he was like, "What the hell show is that? That's like on Netflix." And it was like Firefly Lane or something. And then I was just like, it's following like it's a woman's tale. And he was just intrigued in it. He's like, "Yeah, I got interesting. I just got, you know, I got interested and had to see it through." Well, you know how we're all watching these different shows, right? And like whatever people are, you know, you give them a chance and you'll actually get interested in them. And I revisited Opie and I revisited The Walking Dead, and we're probably about season 6. And Opie never watched it before. I watched it a long time ago, like when it first came out, and I sort of forgot a little bit about the first episodes. And here I was like, I was I was talking about it, and we started watching it. Shit, that show was like, then you talk amongst each other and be like, if that happened, what would you do? What would you do if the zombie apocalypse came? I'm like, me, I would like get a fortress, and I would, you know, and just like, you know, whatever, you're just figuring that stuff out. But again, mental health. Again, what I do for my mental health is I watch movies and series, and I escape from my own emotions and fall into someone else's drama on on these different shows or whatever. And I'll give movies a chance to. Like, I think like somebody created that movie and somebody was passionate about that, and so there's got to be some sort of storyline in there that's pretty good. And you know, and you know what, especially HBO, I always think like me, I always think if it's on HBO, it's got to be a good storyline, because those people, like, they're really, you know, they really know their stuff. And so I'll give it a shot, and then I'll be like, shit, that was pretty good. Yeah, but again, mental health. It's important to take care of our mental health, and that's by thinking positively. And I think that it's like retraining your brain to start to attain different feelings. I mean, your feelings are attached to your body, and your brain is also in your mind. You know, I mean, your mind in your body, like your thoughts. So we're like, it's all interconnected. And when you understand that, it's like you're being a lot more mindful to take care of that. Because sometimes, like, if you start to think negatively and you have that stinking thinking, and you just sort of like allow, or even when you're starting to be reactive to a situation that's happening, and you just start like, you know, blacking out or something like that, and then it even like the energy that you give off, if you are continuously if you're in a negative state and then you are giving off this energy, your family picks up on that, and your partner, your people around you pick up on that. And so it's important to be mindful of that, because sometimes I am guilty of just being like, oh, short, and I'm like, oh man, I kind of feel like an asshole after. But I think it's important to your mental health, take care of your mental health, and whatever that looks like for you, the self-care. And what is self-care really? For me, to do things that make you happy. And I love taking baths. And so like I'll buy like bubble bath and like like lavender, like those beads that you can put in there, and like have a big soak. And like I put like the hottest water possible, like the freaking hottest water, and just sitting there, and I listen to music. And I don't really put candles on there, but I not like I'm opposed to doing it. I just don't do that. I should though, because that'd be cool. Rose petals. Nah, it's kidding. Getting worse. But I mean, whatever self-care looks like you. And that might be as simple as washing your blankets. And I know that you ever get into when you wash and dry your blankets and they're like nice and soft and they smell good, and you put your legs in them and you're like, oh man, this is so good. My pillow smells good. Little simple things that make you feel happy. And again, it doesn't have this big extravagant, like I need a full day spa, like that. To me, sometimes self-care might seem like that. It might seem daunting. Like, oh, I got a big list. I got to do this, this, and this. And like, I ain't got no time for that. I ain't got no money for that, whatever it is. But it can be simple things that you enjoy. It might even be boiling, putting hot water in your teapot and having a glass of tea, and then just allowing that tea to like, it might be just lighting up your smudge and just really smudging yourself up, just putting a blanket on you and, oh, mama tayo mo. Just kidding. No. And I mean, whatever it is, you smudge out your whole house. I always feel good after I smudge my house out. And, and I know a lot of time if we avoid cleaning, cleaning is a direct effect on visually. If our house is not clean, our space is not tidy, we already are associating this in our brain, like, so much things I have to do. And I know that for me, that was really challenging. Like I couldn't even focus on my school when I was at work, when I was online. If my house was dirty, I'm like, I got fucking bigger fish to fry, man. And my house is dirty. I gotta clean this, do that. And I'm like, I can't be sitting here doing this. But I always think that when you take that time to clean and you can kind of reset. And again, I'm saying that because reminding myself, because my bedroom right now, you should see it. There's like clothes everywhere. And I'm reminding myself that I need to do that because that makes me feel happy. And it's just getting down to it. And sometimes I would FaceTime my sister, put it up on my thing, and we just visit while I was folding up clothes and like, talking and or just, having your circle. And I think that's important to know who your circle is and finding those people that you can connect with. Again, for me, it's my sister AJ, my sister Tanya, and my mom. And those are that's not a very big circle, but those are the people that I know that hold space for me and no judgment. I think that if you need to have your people, and sometimes like, especially if you're the head of a household, or you're the mom, or the person that is the glue to your family, have that person not be in your house. Like, I mean, I know we have, like, for me, my partner is my best friend, like that. Me and him, like we talk, and like he's my go-to, he's my main dude. But when it comes down to like really being able to step outside of that to connect with my sisters and my mom, or even visiting. I went and we were at a round dance last weekend in South Dakota, and I got a chance to visit with my friend Jen and her husband Jermaine. Jen is the one that made these earrings and this medallion, this necklace set, and she's an amazing artist, amazing beater. But I got a chance to visit with her, and we like visited all morning, literally for like 4 hours. Like we just like visited, and we just like talked about, like, it was just so good to like connect with people. And that's why I'm so grateful for this podcast, because here I am just going on and on and on. But I love to do this. I love to talk. I love to connect. This is what I love to do. And I think it's important that we use that. We human people are social people, where we need to connect with people. I know some people are introverts and they don't really, have a preference and stuff, but a lot of us need connection of some sort. And how that looks for you, I think that is important, that you access that, or who your people are, and all of that. And again, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is again my 4th episode of Discussions with Des. I did have a little bit of discussion, a little bit of storytelling, and let me know where you guys are watching this from. I want to thank each and every one of you for viewing with me. Again, if you have things that you want to talk about, or that you want, just ideas, or different subjects and things like that, I'm really open. Again, if you everything that I learned somewhere, and if you've learned anything from me, you can keep it, you can take it. We are all connecting this way, and nothing that I say belongs to me. It belongs to somebody else. Like, it's how we learn, is through storytelling and through connecting. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to hold space for you guys and connect. And yeah, I do my podcast every Tuesday on Seven Stars Media, and again it's linked to my Facebook. It's also linked to Seven Stars Media on YouTube, if you are a YouTuber, or if you use that social media avenue instead. Be sure to connect with me on my TikTok, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Snapchat. It's Desiree Denemy on everything except my Snapchat is Des Denemy. And I really like to connect with you all. So go ahead and add those things on there. And yeah, what do we got here? Good evening. Hi, friend from Southern Arizona, Dahlia. They are strictly VHS tapes. You guys can quote any movie. Mem is actually, she's my friend of she's one of my older sister's best friends, and so they've been friends since they were little wee kids. And so I grew up with her, being around my family my whole entire life, literally. And she is vouching for my family, talking about, could quote any movie. Who is the best at doing that is my brother. My brother can, like, I don't even know, a lot of his brain his brain memory here is, all these things, like, he can quote like word for word. And I think that 80s kids, 70s kids, 80s kids, like that we have that ability to do that. We grew up with social media, like, it's when social media was an infant and it's a toddler. We were growing up with them when it was getting into MySpace and Bebo and High Five, and before Facebook, before TikTok, all these things like that. Like, we were growing up with it, learning how to use it. Again, I remember playing Oregon Trail. Who remembers playing Oregon Trail? I mean, this is like, we grew up with a great big big computer, and pioneers of the internet. And that for me, that's the way that I grew up, was just figuring things out. And still, I'm kind of mamacis. I still don't really know everything about social media. I kind of figure it out, like, just kind of, what does that do? But again, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. This was episode 4 of Discussions with Des. I go on Tuesdays. Tanya Jo Hall goes on with Tea with Tanya on Wednesdays. Thursday is Haley Rose. Friday is Vincent Short. And Saturday is, I believe, Shaylin Fox. I think that we're Seven Stars Media. You're following us in our infancy. We are just starting out here in the last few weeks, in the last month or two, and we're figuring things out. And so we have our 7 stars that are coming on us to storytell. And I invite you, if you come to pop in with me, to check out 7 stars, like 7 stars, and follow our other podcast personalities that are coming out, because we all have different perspectives. And I hope that you guys will be able to enjoy what Seven Stars Media is putting out, because I really believe in what we're doing here. And I absolutely love that we're trying to connect and have our stories out there. And so again, be sure to like Seven Stars Media, and be on the lookout for uh, the other podcast personalities that we have on there. Sunday is Foxing Around with Raymond Fox and River Thomas. They do their Foxing Around. Eventually, I do want to bring on guests. I was thinking about it, and I wanted people to start to know who I am and get a sniff, get a sniff of who I am, and just get a glimpse of who I am, so that they know who I am. And then when I start to bring on guests and things like that, that's what I'm doing here. And again, thank you so much. We're 10 o'clock on the dot. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Have a great evening, and hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday on Discussions with Des. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.